I am not really the biggest fan of CGI in anime. Maybe I'm more old school when it comes to animation, but something about the art style does not mesh well with me. However, I don't hate it outright either, especially when it is combined with a well-told story. CGI is likely here to stay, so instead of crapping on it, I want to look at the ways it works well in anime as a medium through the lens of Netflix's Kengan Ashura. This show drew me in with its premise of being a show based on potentially to-the-death style fights that are run by the secret underground society that runs Japan's economic system. Let's say you want to put in a bid for a new plot of land, and so does another Kengan Association member. To settle the dispute, a Kengan match is held between fighters representing the companies, with the winner receiving the rights to said land. The creators did a phenomenal job in the first few episodes of the show showing how brutal these matches can get, all the while using CGI animation in the fights and mostly hand-drawn animations for everything else. At first, it can be extremely jarring to someone who is used to seeing battles in shows like Yu Yu Hakusho or Hajime no Ippo. But once we get into the larger tournament the show uses for its main stage of action, these fights take on a different meaning, and the animation becomes less of what draws you to the show and instead balances itself with intense background information. The Kengan Annihilation Tournament is our stage for an all-out war of attrition. 32 companies, each with a fire and a potential substitution, will fight through 5 rounds, with the winner being able to name the new leader of the association. From the onset, we are shown that this will be an incredibly diverse tournament, featuring Kengan match veterans, submission specialists, street fighters, various kinds of assassins, people with superhuman-like grip, strength, and intelligence, sumo wrestlers, pro wrestlers, hell, even a giant fisherman. By having such a wide cast of characters, it'd be really easy to get lost in the shuffle of who is who, let alone the companies they represent. This is the point that the show begins to shine at its brightest. Every character's name, affiliation, and even fighting style or profession is shown almost every time they return to the screen if they have been gone for any significant amount of time. They took care in this show to make sure that the audience would understand the ongoing background dynamics and who is who. Then we can also now get into the fights themselves. In a show like this, we have our main group of characters, who we know and see the most, so typically battle-type shows will glance over all the other fights, and instead give us the information we need when we need it. That is not Kengan Ashura though. In this show, we get to see every single battle, with most lasting a full episode in length, and from the second round on, basically 2 episodes each. The main storyline is still ongoing in the background, but each fight is treated with care and suspense as to who will win, with varying techniques, philosophies to fighting, and differing weight classes. So now, that's when we have to look at the big elephant that takes a CGI shit over all the positivity that we have. But no, because the people making this show used the greatest asset they had from the source material: fighting backgrounds and knowledge. I like a good fight as much as the next person, and Kengan has tons of that obviously, but they lean heavily into describing the styles and techniques used by fighters with well-narrated background information about those fighting, as well as the techniques they are using. The tournament's first match, for instance, is between a brash American using a brute force mixed martial arts style against a much smaller competitor that relies on Brazilian jiu-jitsu and strangling focused grappling. Each competitor is given background stories as to who they are, why they fight, and how they came to use the fighting styles that they currently possess. The fight is told expertly, as CGI is able to shine in a very positive way, because our focus is only on these 2 characters, allowing the movements to be more precise and compactly animated, instead of having to focus on multiple moving pieces at once that can just overwhelm the senses and can begin to look almost ugly. This care is taken with every fight, and because the CGI is broken up with these neatly drawn background character moments using a different style of animation, we are given a break between action, so as to better comprehend what is going on around us at all times. If it isn't clear from this, I am a huge Kengan fanboy, and I'm also just a fan of combat and entertainment-driven sports in general, so my views might be a little biased. And the show has not won me over to the side of CGI animation. It does, however, deserve to be praised for using the tools it has to maneuver around the main animation style, making it secondary to a wonderfully told story, with each episode moving like a well-oiled machine. If you enjoyed this video and haven't already, please be sure to subscribe for more anime-focused content in the future. I've been Summers with Baka the Basics, and I'll see you the next time class is in session.